So if we're being honest, My Hero Academia Season 7 Episode 20 just did something that a lot of Battle Shonen authors have done, but done so poorly, where with Horikoshi, pretty much stuck the landing as well as you could ask for. When it comes to anything with like psychotic characters or characters who have done very arguably irredeemable things, doesn't matter what caused them to get to that point, sometimes people have just done things that can't just be, it's okay, you had a sad past and we let them on their merry way. And often the kind of power of friendship, the power of love, it overcomes that and we just kind of forgive and forget, or that's how they end up changing their heart. Doesn't usually work out that well. With Horikoshi, however, Ochako, the Deku, and Toga stuff has been seasons in the making, and she didn't just randomly decide one day to be like, I want to help this girl. She started off very fearful of said girl, and over the seasons has very much said there's more to that smile. And I think the fact that we're able to resolve this, especially with one of the lines she says in this episode about how, you know, I can't forgive you and we can't just forget about many of the things you've done, but I can tell deep down you are more than just those actions. And I think the overall package of this episode is actually the perfect resolution and uses tropes and trends at face value that most authors in this medium just don't do well, and they handled it with absolute grace, and you have to give Horikoshi a round of applause. I mean, of course, Studio Bones for adapting it as well, but I don't think this manga gets the respect he deserves for the amount of things he pulls off in this series and how well he executes them. Now, of course, I have full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see my full thoughts to any of these My Hero Academia episodes over there exclusively. So, the Toga and Ochako stuff is interesting, because Toga as a character, fantastic. One of the most entertaining for sure. One of the characters I would not touch with a 1,000-foot pole. She scares the Jesus out of me. It's interesting because initially when we got the backstory, whichever season it was, with, you know, the parents discovering Toga with the dead bird, there was a lot of pushback. How could the parents do this? You know, why didn't they, you know, because if the parents would have just took, you know, their kid's word that she didn't kill it, but she found it, then a lot of this would be different. Sure. But if every parent just took the word of their kid, like, just take a step back for a second, okay? To play devil's advocate for the parents. Imagine it wasn't a dead bird, right? Imagine it was just a person or something, and, like, is the parent really just supposed to assume the kid's telling the truth? Or maybe the kid had an accident and the kid needs therapy. Put it onto an animal. Most psychopaths start with killing animals. They don't just jump to humans right away. Like, getting her therapy and being upset that she wants to drink people's blood, yeah, it's a pretty obvious reaction. Now, granted, did they handle it perfectly? No, but it's like most people would have the same freaking reaction. Now, the unfortunate thing about the My Hero Academia universe is characters like Eri, Shiggy, Toga, they're kind of destined to be screwed by their quirk. Like, they ended up getting the negative lottery, where, like, they won the lottery, but it's for, like, the worst quirk genes known to man. Shiggy can't even exist without killing things. Eri just speaks for itself. Toga basically consumed by her hunger for blood. Now, granted, as we see with someone like Ochako, very much there could be people that she'd be like, hey, vampire girl, you can have my blood, it's okay. But yeah, like, you know, there's certain elements, like the fact that people just naturally thought she was creepy because of her big smile. That's not acceptable. But when it gets into that, like, territory of just thirsting for blood, you understand why she's like that, but you can't just say, it's okay, she was born different. Like, she quite literally had a hunger, and who knows what could have happened. Could it have been handled better? I don't think anyone will deny that. But it is very interesting to me when I see so many people, especially when we had the flashback, and I'm sure we're going to have it again with this episode. People like, oh, they should have just immediately jumped to therapy. The girl wasn't normal even if she didn't kill the bird there. Like, she needed help to, like, guide her away. The unfortunate thing is when everything piles on that she's wrong, yeah, it builds up resentment. You understand what led her to be like this, but as even Ochako said, you can't just forgive and forget in this moment. But, you know, the fact that deep down she just wanted to be called pretty, she wanted to be treated like a human, completely justifiable. And I think that's what makes Ochako the perfect person, because, you know, it's an interesting little love triangle that Deku has going on, and I don't envy him at all, because neither one of these, because on one hand, you have a girl who wants to drain your blood, which is not going to end well. And then the other girl is probably going to bring home random strays that might try to kill you. So no matter what, Deku's screwed with his choice in ladies. But I do think it's interesting how both of them, you know, for Toga, Deku reminds her of the boy that she liked. Ochiko, him had a little fling going on this whole damn season. And, you know, series in general. So it's interesting how it's all connected and how instead of it being like Deku coming to save her heart, which was what I think, you know, a lot of authors would go, it'd be the MC, it would be the Natsu of their show, someone like that. Instead, it was actually Ochiko, and the idea of how quirks influence and, you know, feelings influence quirks. You know, the idea of just like this beautiful scenery of them all kind of like I thought she was gonna float up into the sky and pop like a balloon, I gotta be honest. Until she got brought over. I mean, Ochiko ended up getting stabbed. She almost got stabbed in the throat as well. But I love the idea of the flashbacks in terms of like making it look like they've known each other since they were kids, and seeing a young Ochiko being like, you can suck my blood, it's okay, I trust you, was actually a really touching thing. And that's what I really like about Horikoshi, is that you can nitpick and you can point out a lot of things that maybe you would have done differently. But I think the big moments continue to impress me because I've seen so many shows with the irredeemable villain, or the villain who's done clearly too much wrong and can't just be like, hey, let's just let you go on your merry way, or we're gonna use the power of love and friendship to heal your heart. If this concept was just brought up this season, I don't think I'd have as strong of a reaction, but Ochiko's been talking about wanting to help her for seasons now. Like, this has actually been seasons in the making. Even if we haven't seen her on screen every single episode, and this hasn't always been relevant, no one, unless you're a damn dirty liar, would say that this randomly was pulled from thin air. And I think she was actually the perfect way to resolve the twice conflict. I mean, I was waiting for Lady Nagin to shoot her in the head, I gotta be honest. I was like, this girl, there's just no helping her. Seemingly we resolved it peacefully. I still don't know what they're gonna do. There's not a lot to go off of based on the preview, though I'm sure they're gonna blue balls us for days with whatever cliffhanger they leave us off on for the short season 8 that we're going to end up getting, or what many people might also think they might do a movie to wrap it all up, since there isn't a shit ton of chapters, but there is still chapters left to finish up the My Hero Academia story. Either way though, brilliant adaptation. The visual production for having so much twice, the 3D, the 2D, they blended it all seamlessly, and easily could have been a mess of a production for what the episode had to deliver, yet somehow bones cooked. And honestly, as I keep saying, the best produced My Hero season, not even up for debate. Let me know what you thought though down below. I definitely think this is a moment that most battle shonen authors fail at, but Horikoshi flexed why I honestly think he's one of the better ones in modern times. Let me know your thoughts down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll just give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Greedex23, Toasted, Tarnak Johnson, Neil Vickers, and we also have Jenny Stiegel. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you'll have a good one.